Hey, what's up guys? Your man Maloney, Breaking Records Radio and the place to be. I had an idea maybe a week or so ago. If you've been following the channel for a while, you're probably familiar with a thing that I used to do called daily news. I used to just kind of keep up to speed what was going on in the media and news, hip-hop related. Because honestly, there's a million other platforms that are going to tell you the fucking day-to-day gossip, and I'm just not honestly that interested in a lot of it anyways, to be honest with you. So I stopped doing it, but I had an idea recently, something called old news. So let me know what you guys think, and if you guys are into it, I'm gonna start pulling out some of the old Source, XXL magazines I have and stuff, and start highlighting some articles that I think you guys might find interesting, that might have some pieces and trinkets of history in them that you know, the common hip-hop public may not be so familiar with now because they're too young to have been privy to that when it came out, or because it's never really been that discussed in YouTube, and you know, either way. So let me know if that's something you guys are interested in. Anyways, ironically today, I was on my phone and this article popped up, and people have dug up an old article and they're talking about it, and I thought, wow, this would be a great way to start it. You know, it kind of just fell into my lap. So I'm gonna start with this. Earlier today, Vibe magazine put up an article. It's written by Preezy Brown, and it's titled, "Nas reveals Jay-Z said he was better than Biggie and that Tupac and DMX were not lyricists." Whoa. So what I'm gonna do here, I'm just gonna read the article and then we can kind of share some opinions and stuff on it. You know, I'm not gonna go too deep of a dive, but you know, I'll give a bit of my opinion on it at the end. Either way, the article reads as follows. After an unreleased Nas track dissing Tupac was unearthed last week, many rap historians and critics have revisited the battle for New York rap supremacy, in which Nas was a contender during the late 90s. In addition to Nas, the other key players were Jay-Z and DMX, who also had their own subtle rivalry dating back to the mid-90s rhyme war in a Bronx pool hall. Now a 2001 Nas interview with Felon magazine has resurfaced and is shedding new light on one of the most creative and competitive eras in hip-hop history. Ahead of the release of his highly anticipated album Stillmatic, and at the height of the Queensbridge rapper's monumental beef with Jay-Z, Nas circled back with the outlet after initially declining to discuss the conflict, saying, "You know what? I'm gonna talk about this shit with Jay-Z. Felon is a street magazine and I fucks with street magazines. It's only right that I keep it real with the streets." Esco went on to allege that during a party thrown by Steve Stout around 2000, Hov said that he was a superior MC to the late notorious B.I.G. and that DMX and Tupac only appealed to starving street. I'm not gonna say the word. We were kicking it and he told me that he's better than Biggie now. Nas shared with Felon. I looked at him like he was crazy. "What'd you say?" Then he started telling me Memphis Bleek was a fan and that I shouldn't go at him. Didn't he send Memphis Bleek? He predicted that Beanie Siegel would never sell more than 600,000 copies. That's kind of hard. How you want your man to He said that Sauce Money was to him what nature was to me. Then he really got crazy. He said that Tupac and DMX were not lyricists. They just had the hungry, starving street, not gonna say the word, copping their shit. But me and him had all the money, not gonna say the word again, buying ours. I told him that I disagreed with him and that Tupac was the greatest ever. Many people would agree with you. A lot of people would disagree as well. Period. And that DMX really brought the street shit back into the game. Kinda like Griselda now. By the way, that DMX and Griselda record is hard. When asked about the root of his feud with Jay-Z, Nas speculated that it could be a number of things. I don't know. I don't know if it's over a bitch. I don't know if it's over the joint I didn't do with him. I don't know if he's trying to show me I told you so, meaning that he would be as successful or more successful than me. And if that's it, it shouldn't be, because I never told him that he wouldn't or that he couldn't. All I know is that something is really bothering him and he needs to address it, release it, and get over it. While DMX would get wind of Hov's comment, exasperating his disdain for the Brooklyn-bred rapper, the two would never engage in an all-out war like Nas and Jay-Z did, which continues to captivate the public 20 years later. Alright, so I'm not going to do a crazy deep dive on this, but I do want to make a few points and hit a few points here. Now, first off, I know there are some rappers in hip-hop history who definitely seem to exaggerate the past a little bit when they talk about things. I'm not going to name any specifically, but if you're big on hip-hop media and stuff, then I'm sure you probably know who some of those rappers are. And there are some stories that go around about Tupac and Nas, that one rapper who's notorious about this. Anyways, I'm not going to say any of that. But I don't know Nas to be somebody who tends to exaggerate the truth when talking about hip-hop history very often, if at all. I've never really, you know, he's pretty quiet, keeps to himself. I've never really known for him to go jump out the window and say some crazy things that may not be true. But we also have to keep in mind, this was 2001 when this was said, and this would be around the same time that he was going up. I think it was on Angie or Flex or whatever, and when the whole beef with Jay-Z was going on, and he was talking really crazy. He was dissing Nori, he was dissing Cameron, he was dissing a lot of dudes from New York City, and talking a lot of shit about a lot of people, and you could tell that he was really upset. And you know, so that being said, maybe he was jumping out the window a little bit, saying something crazy. I don't know. I'm not here to say Nas was telling the truth or that he wasn't. But I will say that in my knowledge of hip-hop history, which goes pretty deep, I do know Nas to typically be pretty laid back, not say a whole lot about a whole lot, and to be pretty truthful in the things he says. So with that being said, it would make sense. Now, you may remember DMX and Jay-Z. DMX felt away about Jay-Z, and some of this information has come out since DMX has passed, especially. But he had also said some things publicly, I believe, as well in the early 2000s. And a lot of people trumped it to, I mean, there's different theories, but I mean, their legendary battle in the Bronx, and then, you know, them working together tight for years, but always just being competitive. People have chalked it up to that. Other people also say that when Jay-Z became president of Def Jam and called DMX and said, hey, the inmates took over the building, that he never really followed through and gave DMX's, I believe, his final album with Def Jam, the tender love and care that it deserved for promotion and stuff. And Jay-Z kind of funneled a lot of his energy, money, efforts, and time of the label into Kingdom Come. So there's all these different theories that go around with that. But if this is true, what's said here, that you know, when Nas said this, that DMX caught wind of it and felt disdain towards Jay-Z for it, maybe this is a deeper rooted part of the issue kind of between them two, and maybe it does lead to being a little bit more than just a competitive. But as we know now, rest in peace DMX, he's no longer here with us, and I don't want to sit here and speculate on semantics. I just thought this was an interesting article. It just kind of fell into my lap, and I thought I would bring it to you guys, see what you guys thought about it, and if this is something that interests you, you know, I'll continue doing it and digging for my own stuff. This one just kind of came across my lap, and I figured, hey, this is a perfect way to kind of do a pilot trial of this. But anyways, with that being said, I don't necessarily agree with, you know, DMX and Tupac not being lyricists. I wouldn't say that they're, you know, as Royce the 5'9" was saying to Mickey Fact, check the boxes as far as, you know, they're not the most multifaceted lyricists of all time, but I mean, they're definitely lyricists. I could understand what somebody would be saying in saying that, but I wouldn't agree with it. Now, for him to say the thing about Memphis Bleek, I found a little bit ironic, you know, considering the way that the story's been told years later is kind of that, you know, Memphis Bleek was kind of set up to go at Nas as a line of defense before Jay-Z kind of jumped into the ring and, you know, made it a full thing. But it all started with the whole, you know, got my mind right, or, you know, the Nostradamus, the ball till you fall, you know, going on to the bridge 2001, and anyways, all that stuff. So I find a little ironic that he would say don't go at Memphis. But anyways, that's another thing, neither here nor there. The whole Beanie Siegel thing, that's kind of wild. It kind of relates to with the Nori and the Beanie Siegel thing going on recently, and Jay-Z calling Nori and saying don't be a bully. I don't know, man. I think never mind. I'm keep my mouth shut. But anyways, I don't know if there's really too many other points I wanted to touch on that. I just thought it was an interesting article, and obviously, like I said, this is 20 years ago that this article was put out. So I mean, obviously Jay-Z does not feel the same way as he would have 20 years ago. Obviously, Nas probably wouldn't even convey this information if it were to be today. But I just thought this was a little bit of a interesting piece of hip-hop history and came across my lap, as I said, and this is something I want to start doing, so thought I'd bring it to you guys. You guys let me know what you think in the comments. Do you think Jay-Z said what Nas said? Do you think, if you do think he said it, do you think it was foul what he said about either Memphis Bleek, what he said about Tupac and DMX, what he said about Biggie? So hold on. Let's get back to the Biggie thing. For Jay-Z to say, like, would this have been before What More Can I Say? 2001, Blueprint, 2001. Holy shit. Yeah, so I mean, like, for you to feel this way and say this kind of stuff and then do, like, What More Can I Say? I say a big verse, I'm only bigging up my brother, bigging up my borough, I'm big enough to do it, I'm that thorough, plus I know my own flow is foolish. If this is, you know, anyways. What you say in private shouldn't always come out as public anyway, so I'm not going to judge what nobody else says. But there were some sticky things said in this article, which is why I thought it was interesting. Anyways, just another piece of hip-hop history. If you like this kind of idea and this concept, I'll keep doing it, so you guys let me know, and we can start bringing you guys old news, you know what I mean? But for the meantime, it's your man Maloney, Breaking Records Radio, and the place to be. If you want to get shirts, there's links in the bio. We just put these out with the royal blue, and there's a couple other different color shades and colorways from some of our previous drops still available on the site as well too. First link in the bio. Also, make sure you hit that bell and subscribe, all that good stuff, and comment. Let us know your thoughts. All right, thank you for your time, guys. Peace.
Blunts in a sack, 3 bundles of crack, we better move. We starting to wild up, fuck these bird motherfuckers, make the flock of them fly south.
I got a lot of clout, got a lot of props from how I walk, what I talk about.
It's mic check, come on. It's 2-step, come on. It don't matter what's said and who you rap, come on. So with my mind's on my money, yeah, my money on my mind.
I get mine, I get mine, I get mine, I get mine.